Welcome back, everyone, here to Bronx Talks. Today, I got a very special video for you guys. We are going to be talking about four New York Yankees that we believe will not be returning in 2024. Now, obviously, with these guys, with these four guys, there's no guarantees that they won't be returning. Obviously, something could happen. Maybe a couple guys return, maybe none of them return at all. But these are me and Christian's predictions for the New York Yankees that won't be returning in 2024. Some are free agents, some are still under contract, but we're going to be talking about it. Christian, who do we have up first?
First guy is Kyle Higashioka, and he might be the one person on this list that I genuinely love. He's been with the Yankees for a long, long time, and he has basically been the perfect backup catcher, right? He's been great defensively. He has games where he just pops home runs, and this isn't anything against Kyle Higashioka, but with their offensive struggles and the fact that they now have Jose Trevino coming back next season. They have Austin Wells, who looks very promising, and even Ben Rortvedt. That's three catchers right there. I don't really know if you need Kyle Higashioka. I mean, you only need two on your team, and if they didn't have one of those guys, yeah, I guess you could see Higgy coming back because you kind of need three, I guess. But since they have those solid three, I just don't think it really makes sense. Now, he is under contract for another season, so this would mean he could get moved. But I'll be honest, I think there's a team that would be happy to have Kyle Higashioka,
Definitely.
and even as a chance to be a starter, because this guy's a good catcher. He is not great offensively, but I'd say he's maybe a little below average in terms of catchers for offensive production, and he's good behind the plate. So
Yeah.
I think it's very realistic the Yankees will move on from him this offseason and then transition to Jose Trevino as their starting catcher. And then I guess whoever plays better, Wells or Rortvedt, they could always move Wells to first base. But I think that's sort of where the Yankees are at right now. And I don't think Kyle Gashioka is going to be coming back next season.
Yeah, Wells and Rortvedt's roles are going to be interesting to see. Wells definitely played really well down the stretch, and I think the Yankees definitely want to acclimate him at the big league level, some way on the roster. And I think another reason why you could say, it's safe to say that Higgy will be gone is because he doesn't catch Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole did not want to throw to him for some reason. Would only throw to Ben Rortvedt down the stretch. He just doesn't like Garrett Cole doesn't like throwing to him. And, with Garrett Cole likely going to win a Cy Young, the ace, I get the personal catcher, but the ace still has to be comfortable enough to pitch to whoever's behind the plate. And that just wasn't the case with Higgy and Cole. Sometimes, pitchers and catchers, they just don't see eye to eye and stuff happens. But I think the situation is very unique. Who knows? Maybe they'll hold on to him. But I think it's safe to say that Higgy will not be with the Yankees in 2024.
Yeah, next up we have Luis Severino. Now, this was a tough year for him, and he was going into the year. He knew it was a contract year. He's overall had a pretty good young career, just kind of bugged by injuries. But this was nonetheless a huge year for him, and he was about as bad as you could possibly be. Now, me and Ryan talked about extending him depending on how he performed this season. But I'll be honest, Ryan, I don't really want anything to do with Luis Severino.
No.
I'm happy he had some really cool moments with the Yankees. I'll remember those, but just the way it ended, I don't think it's right to bring him back. I do think he'll sign a 1-year deal somewhere and
Yeah.
try and prove himself. But I just don't think it really makes sense for the Yankees to take that on just because of how he ended the season. And I think they'll be moving on from him.
Yeah, I'd say he's the most likely to not return in 2024. I'd be shocked if the Yankees brought him back, unless it was on some super team friendly deal. Yeah, like you said, I mean, just injuries bugged him his whole career, especially the last 3 years. Just hasn't been able to stay on the field. And then this year, he was not effective at all. He was just really, really flat out, just really bad. And, it's just not a guy you can carry on your roster. The Yankees paid him like $20 million this season. He's flat out awful, hasn't been able to stay on the field. And I think if the Yankees sign him, re-sign him, I think it would be a massive, massive mistake. It just doesn't make any sense if you look at his track record, especially the last 3 seasons. Although he'll probably get a 1 year prove it deal somewhere, and who knows, maybe he'll thrive. But I just think Sevy and New York and the Yankees are just not a fit at all right now, and I think it's time for a divorce.
Yeah, 100%. Next up, we have Frankie Montas. Now, I'll be honest, I bet half the Yankee fans out there didn't even realize that he pitched this year. He pitched 1 1/3 innings, and I think the last series of the year, which I don't get, but I mean, maybe they're just trying to help him with his rehab. Only reason I think, I thought 100% this guy's gone, right? He came over to the Yankees in 2022, did not perform how we thought he was, and then he got injured and basically missed the entire season this year. The only reason why I think there's a shot he could come back is because the Yankees were really taking his rehab seriously, and it felt like they were kind of building him up for next year, and they were making like a pretty big effort to get him right. So
Mm.
that's the only reason why I thought maybe they kind of had some underlying deal, and he's going to come back to the Yankees for a 1 year prove it or something. However, he was terrible with the Yankees. Yankee fans couldn't stand him. I don't think it makes sense. So the only reason I think there's a small shot he comes back, is just because the Yankees were working really hard to get him back. But I mean, that could just be doing him justice because, I mean, what else are you going to do? You can't just give up on a guy.
Yeah, I mean, also keep in mind the Yankees gave up a lot to get him. And, maybe Brian Cashman and the Yankees front office just doesn't want to toss this aside and throw it away. We've seen Cashman be very stingy, holding on to players, deals, bad deals that he's made, bad free agent signings that he has made, and he holds on to these players. And maybe Cashman wants to get some value out of Frankie Montas and bring him back, to make that trade look a little bit better. Because the Yankees did give up a lot to get him. They traded for him knowing he had a shoulder issue. He was out all season this year, and in 2022, he did not pitch well. So you really have no idea what you're going to get in 2024. And especially with the season the Yankees had this past year in 2023, are we seriously going to take another risk with another player? We see it year in and year out, the Josh Donaldson risk, the Aaron Hicks risk, banking on these guys to produce and be big time players to help your team win. Are we seriously going to do this again in 2024 and sign Frankie Montas back, put him in the middle, back into that rotation so he could suck? He'll get hurt in May and we'll be, same spot again. I wouldn't bring him back. Would I be surprised if the Yankees brought him back? No, I wouldn't. But I guess we'll have to see what happens. But I think me and Christian both agree he should not be back with the Yankees in 2024.
Yeah. And the last guy we have is Domingo Germán. Now, he is under contract uh, for the 2024 season with the Yankees, though he's in a very, very weird situation. Obviously he's had the whole illegal substance thing where he got suspended. Then he pitched a perfect game, and he got put into rehab with alcohol. So to be honest, we don't even know where he's at with that. But nonetheless, he had a bad clubhouse incident, and it's not like this guy was an amazing pitcher, right? He had he's very inconsistent, some good games, some
Yeah.
bad. Overall, though, he's not a good pitcher, probably a little below average. So with all that, I just don't think it makes sense to have him pitching for the Yankees, on the team, in the clubhouse at all, right? And even with all that, even if the Yankees did want him back, we have no clue where he's at with his alcohol use and all that. So I think it's very unlikely that he pitches for the Yankees in 2024. And I don't know what they'll really do with him. I don't know if they would try and trade him, if a team would want to take a chance, but I just don't see him pitching for the Yankees in 2024. I don't really see him being on the team. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, the saying, like 3 strikes you're out. Obviously, baseball podcast, it's funny. But, I mean, how many chances are we going to do with this guy? The off the field issues have been a big problem. We have the domestic violence thing. We have the foreign substance. And now we have the alcohol misuse. And it's just we don't like it's hard to speculate and talk about it because we don't know exactly what happened or where he's at with all of that, so it's hard to give our opinions on all of that. But yeah, I don't know, the off the field issues have been a big problem, And he threw the perfect game. I feel like last year he definitely had like a lot of good signs where he'd have a lot of solid outings. He'd also have a lot of bad outings too. There's definitely stuff there. I don't know if he'll ever be able to harness it. There's is stuff. So I do think a team, especially with starting pitching and how valuable it is, I do think a team would be willing to take a chance on him nonetheless. But I just think getting him out of New York and just getting someone fresh in there is the best option for the Yankees.